Hello and welcome to the Elder Scrolls Online Tips and Tricks with me, your host Crypto Gamer. And today, guys, we are going to be taking a look at how to make a lot of gold and easily learn how to steal many items that you can then fence off in the Outlaws Refuge using Necrom. Remember, guys, if you do enjoy the video, please like, share and subscribe. Now, guys, when you go to Necrom, you're going to want to go specifically to that northern point there, and you will come across a door here. Now, when you go into the Necrom underways, one of the things that you'll notice is there's plenty of urns and things to actually loot. Now, the great thing about this particular area is this is instanced, so you can keep going in and out of these doorways in order to collect as many items as you'd like. And not only that, but there are no NPCs in this area. So this is basically a free to loot area. And it's very, very close to the Outlaws Refuge, which is actually down here in these catacombs themselves. Farming these areas, you'll get plenty of lockpicks, and you will even get some formulas, practices, and even blueprints for furniture crafting, along with recipes for food and drink. And you will get plenty of white, green, and even blue items that you can sell in the Outlaws Refuge. There are also special areas within this particular part of the city that I can actually show you tips and tricks on how to get even more stolen items that most people wouldn't even know how to do. A little bit of acrobatics involved, but once you get the hang of it, it's quite easy to do, and you can get an extra 5 or 6 items. There we go, we got a design cheese wedge, which is something I haven't learned yet on this character. And don't forget to go into this particular room here, guys, because there are plenty of things here to actually get. As you can see, my inventory is starting to fill up very, very rapidly. So what I'll end up doing is I will end up selling a bunch of stuff using Nuzima, the merchant. And then that will give me more room to carry on pilfering my way through these catacombs. If you're in the middle of actually training up one of your characters when it comes to their blacksmithing or woodworking, then I would say collect any items such as void steel daggers and things like that, but otherwise it's just going to take up an extra inventory slot that you could have a stack in. So I would recommend that you don't pick those up unless you're training up your character or you really need that extra money. But the amount of urns that you're going to be able to deal with in this particular area, you should have plenty of items to sell by the end of the day. A quick tip when you are doing these sorts of activities, your best bet is to sell as many of the white items as you can before you move on to your green, and then remove as many of the green items as you can before blue, and then purple, so on and so forth. Purple items are incredibly rare to actually pick up in these places, but you will find them occasionally. And when it comes to picking up things like style materials or lockpicks, these are also really, really handy to basically clean, turn it into a non-stolen item, basically to launder. I particularly like this area because even if there are lots of people in here, you're always going to be able to find something, even if this place started to get over-farmed. And it's a really good way to get your achievement in this particular zone, or any zone if you've got enough stolen items, to actually sell about 20,000 gold's worth of stolen or laundered items, and that will give you an achievement in Necrom and basically any of the major expansion or DLC zones. Remember to check all your shelves as well, because you will find the odd one in shelves. Now in this area here, if you jump up on here, you can actually move to the left and get these urns, but if you go right over to the left to the end cart, you can actually jump up on this wall, which I'll show you shortly. Check every single urn, because every single urn will have something of value in it, and if you're unsure, just sweep your way back up. Now as you can see, this is the route to the Necrom's Outlaws Refuge, and it's quite fascinating that Zos decided to actually do this with the Necrom Outlaws Refuge to put it in an area where you can basically collect a lot of items for free without being disturbed by guards or NPCs. And the fact that it's instance as well makes it really handy. If any of you guys have ever done the Thieves Guild DLCs, or even in general if you particularly enjoy making money by stealing items from the environment or pickpocketing people, I'd really like to know where your favourite spots are, guys. I'd like to know where you like to farm. Let me know in the comments. It's always interesting to see everybody's little routes that make them money. You know, especially if they're ones that you won't get a bounty from, such as this one here. So if you jump up here, it'll take a little bit of fiddling, but once you get up on the ledge you can jump up, and from there you can get the rest of these urns. And you can, but with a bit of skill, actually jump over the top, but you have to try and hug the wall as much as you can, otherwise, as you see, you just end up falling off. But you can basically get all the urns up above from there by doing this. It's interesting that ZOS didn't patch this out. Maybe this was something deliberate. Maybe they wanted to see how people would react and see whether they would be greedy enough to try and get every single urn in the area. And as you can see throughout my videos, you know, I've shown you where to get it. We got another purple item there, which was for wine, or it was a recipe. And yeah, you can get some decent furnishing plans in this area, which is something that I really enjoy doing. It's a very quick way to rack up a lot of money quickly. Once we've completed this area, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of routes throughout Necrom that I take, where I do either assassinations, pickpocketing, or of course I end up picking up things throughout the environment and checking urns throughout the environment. Necrom, because of the nature of the city and the zone itself, has these urns all over the place. And this means that this is basically a thief's delight. You can go around the entire town, and as long as you're hidden and you've got good stealth perks, so obviously if you're going as a vampire or something like that, or a nightblade, you can basically do a lot of stuff and get away with it, and the NPCs aren't going to notice. This is a fantastic way of racking up a lot of money and picking up even bits of furniture, all sorts of little things that you wouldn't expect. And also a very good way of collecting lots and lots of freestyle materials and alchemy ingredients as well. Out of all the cities that I've actually experimented in throughout the years on how to steal items, or even through assassinations, this one by far has definitely got to be the most lucrative city in the whole of the game. I would really like to know why ZOS actually made it so lucrative. Maybe it's just the way they wanted it to be, or for whatever reason, but I find it very fascinating that they did this. So as you can see, guys, we are slowly making our way to the end of this area, and we will be going around a sort of like a bit of a loop in some areas, and you'll be able to see all the best places to easily acquire new items with very low traffic from NPCs and from guards. Of course, you will still have to be wary, but for the most part, the guard paths and the NPC paths are quite predictable, and in some cases you can actually get away with killing NPCs in certain areas without being detected, even though there might be other NPCs very close by that really should be within eye or earshot. So guys, we have made it to the bottom here, and what we'll do now is we will pop through this door here, and we will be in the harbour area. So up the top was the basically the Hall of the Dead area and the graveyard. So now we'll have a wee look around the harbour area, and if we go to the left here, you'll see a bunch of small NPCs here, and there is one that is en route, and if you follow him up the back here, you can get an easy assassination kill without any witnesses at all. And that's him. And we'll see if he's got anything valuable here. Nothing of anything. And now what we can do is we can slowly but surely work our way backwards and slowly eliminate all the NPCs that we can where the guards aren't around. So we're heading right now. And there we go. I do occasionally pickpocket this lot, but sometimes I don't. And now we'll just get this guy. Nobody's around. Oop, maybe. And he's down as well. As I say, it'll be a random chance to see what you get. Check these urns here, but there's usually nothing in these particular urns. And if we go to this NPC here, this beggar, by the way, if you have Sharp as Night, I would not recommend doing this, because ultimately Sharp as Night doesn't like people being pickpocketed, especially beggars. So this is something very important to note, because as you see here, my rapport goes down, and I end up swiping from this guy twice, which is quite good. You can usually pickpocket people twice, and then after that there's going to be nothing left. Probably getting very bad karma for doing this. And 2 green items, that's not too bad. X out of sneak, and now we'll carry on going. There's some very interesting NPCs in this area, including a man that seems to walk around on a guar. Funnily enough, he can't be highlighted or spoken to, he just seems to be like a set piece. And as you can see, on this stairway here, there are plenty of urns. So if you're very, very careful and you keep an eye on where NPCs are in the area, you can basically have a free-for-all up here and collect as many items as you want. Remember, always be checking your hidden status and make sure that you're not caught, because otherwise you're going to have to learn to either travel away to get rid of your bounty, use a pardon edict, or you are going to have to log off and go on to another character entirely, which is kind of frustrating when you have to do that if you've racked up a massive bounty. Otherwise, if you get caught by the guards, you'll lose all your stolen items and you will have to start again. This is one of the easier areas in Necrom on the outside to actually pilfer your way through things, and usually get some alright items that you can then launder and resell at a later date or time. A lot of the Necrom stuff is still quite popular, so I would recommend it. Either that, or do this on a character where you need to learn these practices and blueprints, and that's probably going to be one of your best ways to do it, because at least then you don't have to buy it from guild stores or just hope to randomly come across it in a chest. I wouldn't be surprised if there are certain things within the game that you can only get by looting it from a owned chest or an owned urn. Maybe very specific items. Now, if you're very careful, some of the NPCs on this level can be stolen from and or looted from, but generally speaking, it's quite difficult, and you're in a very open area where people move around and change position. So the likelihood is you'll probably get caught, so you don't really want to do that. You want to make sure that you're being safe about what you're looting as you're going around the town and city. You can actually get a heck of a lot of stuff. You could easily fill your inventory just in one full entire loop of the entire city and then sell a bunch of it. But personally, I usually just farm the catacombs most of the time, unless I'm feeling a bit of a challenge coming on. For those of you that have played Necrom right through to the very end and know the storyline, I'd really like to know what your personal opinions were on the entire expansion and on the new Arcanist class. I personally really enjoyed the Arcanist, and I actually enjoyed the storyline an awful lot, especially one of the minor antagonists, which was Talvazard, the new Dramora. I thought he was quite cool, and how it all tied into basically the big reveal at the end. That was quite a good storyline. Probably one of my favourite storylines, other than the Mehrunes Dagon storyline from the Blackwood expansion, probably ever to come out for any of the expansions or DLCs. So yeah, I'd like to know your opinions on it. And also, if you are enjoying the video, guys, please remember, like, share and subscribe. And what we're going to do is, once we're coming near the end here, we will probably make our way towards the Thieves Guild, and we will see how much of a haul that we've actually made just off of the basic stuff. And if you guys want a part 2 at a later date, I can do a couple of runs and show you how much you can make in an overall hour. And then we can figure out whether this overall would be worth it. I would personally say you're going to have to farm a lot of blues and greens at the bare minimum until your entire inventory is completely full and stacked. And then it would be worth a lot of money, I would say. Remember to also keep your eye out as well for ornate stolen jewelry, especially coloured ornate stolen jewelry. I got an electrum ring that was ornate, and it was green, so it was worth a little bit more, which I thought was quite cool. You want to save some of those items as well, as ornates are quite good for selling at a future date. So yeah. So what we'll do is we will go through all of the white goods first, and then we will just start making our way all the way up back through all of the green goods, and we will then basically find out exactly how much we've made in total. And bearing in mind, I did all this over the course of about 15-16 minutes. Not much of this video has been edited out, as in the parts, clipping ends off, little things like that. So most of this is basically just raw gameplay footage as well, to let you see exactly how much you can make. There's quite a few. There's no point in laundering anything that you're going to break down or use in the sense of learning it. So you only really want to launder stuff like purple items or blue items if you have completely learn these items, and then that way you can either give them to your other characters, or you can put it on the markets and the guild traders. Right guys, well, if you really enjoyed this video, please leave a like, share and a comment, and also hit that big bell notification and subscribe to my channel to stay tuned for more tips and tricks in the Elder Scrolls Online. This has been Crypto Gamer, guys. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Peace out.
What?